Hello, once again, this is Antonio, and I'm coming at you with another exciting video. Now, what we want to talk about in this video is America is actually facing a eviction crisis. The eviction crisis is definitely a not good look for the country. I did a video the other day where it spoke about on a week ago in the city of Atlanta, they had 12,000 evictions. And that's only for Atlanta and DeKalb. That's not even discussing the other ramifications or the other counties that make up the metropolitan of Atlanta. And in July, there were 70,000 evictions. And that's only for a city of Atlanta, which is only like the eighth largest metropolitan of America. When you look at the largest metropolitan of Atlanta, which is of the world, which is New York, and then you got Los Angeles, which is the second largest city. That's what I meant to say. Las Vegas is actually leading the country when it comes down to evictions. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna flip our screens and we're gonna talk about what's actually going on, and then we're gonna discuss: do you think America can defeat this crisis that's brewing? The rent is at an all-time high. I remember in New York there was a individual running for governor of New York, or was it mayor? And his slogan was, "The rent is too damn high, party." That was his slogan. I'm gonna see if I can find that slogan. But right now, the world is going through a lot. But in Metro Atlanta, it's just not the best look right now when it comes down to what's going on. So we're gonna go ahead and let's flip our screen. Let's flip it. Let me make me smaller. Right now, let's stop here. Let's start here. And this is from June of 17. Eviction filings soared over 50% above pre-pandemic levels in some cities as rents increase. The rent in the average rent in America is actually $1,700. It's actually $1,700. Let's look at that real quick. Average rent in America in 2023. That's what it is. All right, so the medium national price sits. Let's see. The average American renter pays $1,326 per month. Let's do the math on that. Let's do the math on that. All right, so 1,326 times 12. That's $15,672. The interesting part of that is this: the minimum wage in America is still $7.25. I remember when I first started working in the year 1993. I was 15 years old, and I'm telling my age. My salary, what not salary, my wage was $4.25 an hour. After $4.25 an hour, the minimum wage went from $5.15, then it went to $6.75, and then it sits at $7.25 an hour for 27 years. Now, at $7.25, let's do that math, because that is the average minimum wage. We're gonna look that up in a second. The average asking rent is $1,900. Now you see, the average American renter pays $1,326 per month. The average asking rent is $1,900. The national median rent price is $2,038. This is only $15 less than the peak price of $2,053. in August 2022. Since February 2023, when rents bottom out at $1,936, prices have increased by 5%. The average monthly rent for a two-bedroom apartment in the United States is $1,320. This is up from $1,282 a year before. The nationwide median rent for a one-bedroom home is $1,504. This is up 6.8% from last year and 23.2% since May 2020. Rent prices increases have slowed down overall and slightly lower than pre-pandemic prices. Now, this article was printed. Now, you see this is rent.com, and it's from this month, September. So when I'm reading for September. So when you look at the apparatus, America is at an impulse. Meaning, all right, so I told you I'll promise show you what is the average minimum wage. Let's look at the average minimum wage in America. All right, now the federal minimum wage in the United States has been $7.25 per hour since July 2009. That is the last time Congress raised it. Some types of labor are exempt. Employees may be tipped labor at a minimum of $2.13 as long as the hour wage plus tip income equals at least the minimum wage. Now, when we look at the apparatus of what we got going on or what we're discussing, at $7.25 an hour, let's do that math real quick. Let's do that math. All right. Let's do 725 times 80, meaning you're getting paid every 2 weeks, and which is 580, right? Times 2, that's $1,160. How in the world can you afford the average American rent at $1,326? You cannot afford it at $7.25. Now you might be like, are grown men making that type money? Yes, they are. Do you know that Waffle House, which started in Atlanta, Georgia, their cooks makes, and we're gonna dive deep in some of this. Let's go here. The average cook at a Waffle House. All right, let's look at this. All right, so Waffle House cooks makes an average approximately of $14.29, which meets the national average. Salary information comes from 1,259 data points collected directly from employees, users, and past and present job advertisements on the deed in the past 36 months. Stop right there. Now, let's do 1429 times 80. That's $1,143. And let's multiply that times 2. That's $2,286. Now, we already discussed right here that the average rent is $1,300. So once you deduct 1,326, you only left with $960.40. That's enough money for your insurance, your water bill. If you are married, hopefully you are, because this is why I say we need each other. The medium, let's look up one more thing. I know I'm jumping before I dive in what we're talking about. Let's talk about the medium in Black America, the average medium in Atlanta for Black Americans is what? Let's look at this. All right. The report found that the median income for a black family in the city, this is for Atlanta. This is for Atlanta. It's just $28,105 compared to $83,722 for a white family, a nearly 3-to-1 ratio. About 70% of black families in Atlanta are considered liquid asset poor. Liquid asset poor compared to 22% of white families. Are we inadequate? Absolutely not. Do I feel that we are inadequate? But what do I feel? I feel that it's too much pride, it's too much cheating going on, it's no loyalty, and the people that's suffering are the black Americans. And why do I say that? Because the number one medium of any income group in this country are Indians. All right. The highest, let's look at that. Before I get into it, the highest medium per race. All right. It's the highest medium per race. Let's list it. You don't believe me? List it. Mm, 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 mm. Asian Americans, 19,157,288. The medium is $100,000. Why? Because in the Indian household, in the Asian household, specifically Indian household, that's what they're talking about. They will buy a mansion or a big home, and what would they do? They all would live together. So if you got a big house, 7 bedroom, instead of separating the house, you live here, you live here, live, everybody that makes a certain amount of money, you live together and you live comfortably. Right? That's what's happening, people. White Americans with a 202,981,791 population, average medium is $74,000. Native Hawaiian, 612,000, average medium 69,000. United States General, 69,717. Some other race, 57,000. American Indian or Alaska Native, 53,148. African Americans, average income, 40,194,304,000 people, 304 population. And guess what? The average medium is only 46,774. So you tell me right now, why is it that? I'm gonna tell you why. Because we can't get along. We can't get along. We cannot get along. We cannot get along. And because we can't get along, we found something wrong with each other. We separate. And then Johnny is over here. I don't want to use Johnny. Jerome is over here. He's making his money, right? Tasha is over here. She's making her money. But instead of them intertwining and living together and making that money, that's why our medium is so low. It's because we are not living together. We are not living together. And Indians has the highest medium, not because they make that much more money than everybody else. It's because they found a way to live with each other. That's how they have 141,906 medium in their household. This is a tough conversation. A lot of people probably won't even look at this video. Taiwanese, 119,000. Filipino, 101,000. Pakistani, 100,000. Sri Lanka, Sri Lankan, 96,000. Chinese, 93,000. Japanese, 87,000. Indonesian, 87,000. But when you get down to the get down, we're not going to talk about all that. Um, this is because when you talk about medium, these are the people that's living together, right? But in Atlanta, the average medium in the city of Atlanta, and this is what I talk about. I call cities like Atlanta a flex city because people sit around and they acting like they all got to get it. They all got it together because you wear a pair of Jordans or you wear a brand new pair of Levi's. You got that thing for doing afterpay. Get your ass out of here. I'm showing you the medium. I'm showing you the medium. This is the medium. The report found that the medium income for a black family in the city of Atlanta is just 28,105. 105. That's the medium. That's the medium, people. Mm-hmm. And I showed you the average cook in the Waffle House. Waffle House cook, $14. So right now, because of that, what Waffle House is trying to do? Waffle House is trying to start a union. Well, I won't say Waffle House. I would say the Waffle House workers are trying to start a union because that's misinformation. All right. So when you look at it, Waffle House was a privately held company. The first Waffle House opened in Avondale Estates, Georgia in 1955. The Waffle House headquarters are located in Norcross, Georgia. Georgia has the most Waffle House locations in the United States with 436 restaurants. That is about 22% of all Waffle House restaurants in the United States. Do you know that some people will come to Atlanta just to go to a Waffle House in Atlanta? Right? And this is why I say people, we need each other. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to get back to the evictions, but at the end of the day, this is why most black people are the number one evicted because we are not working together. And when you ride around the neighborhoods, we get blindsided on stuff. A Waffle House, the workers, here we go. All right, let's go here. The Metro Atlanta Waffle House workers want to unionize for better wages, stopping workplace violence. Now, look, this article is from September 11th. All right, so look, Gerald Green is a Waffle House employee in Metro Atlanta. He recently gave his boss a demand letter calling for more workplace security, better wages, and staffing. The company is profitable because of hard work, and yet our wages cannot cover the basic necessities like food, rent, and utilities. I just showed you that it did not cover it because why? They are making $14 an hour. So all these people out here flexing for the gram and making themselves look like certain things, you are not living good. The USSW is supporting the Waffle House employees in South Carolina, who also already unionized. After South Carolina went on strike last month amid what employees said is ongoing violence happening in and around the restaurant. So I'm gonna do another video soon. How in certain areas, long-time restaurants are shutting down because the people refuse to go to the restaurants because people are burglarizing the cars. You go for a $50 dish and leave with $1,000 worth of windows gone. Now look at this. I have been with the company for 24 years, and this time I'm only making $16 an hour. I've been through 2 robberies. One South Carolina Waffle House employee said, I've been with the company for 24 years. Over the years, Atlanta News First has covered a number of deadly shootings in the parking lots of Waffle House, of local Waffle House. The chain, known as for quick and friendly services, has also garnered a reputation for dealing with intoxicated and unruly customers. Now let's play this.
The only way that we're going to get better working conditions, better health, better safety, more pay is if we continue to organize in unions like Union of Southern Service Workers that organizes across the service industry. When we're doing things one by person, it can scatter us. But when we work together, when we're united, it shuts it down.
Okay, now let's get down to what we were talking about. We talked about the minimum wage. We talked about the rent. We talked about Waffle House. We talked about the medium. We talked about the number one, um, the families with the most money in their bank account. Now let's talk about the evictions. Eviction filings soar over 50% above pre-pandemic levels in some cities as rents increase. Entering court using a walker, a doctor's note clutch in his hand, 70-year-old Dana Williams, who suffers serious heart problems, hypertension, and asthma, pleaded to delay eviction from his two-bedroom apartment in Atlanta. Although sympathetic, the judge said state law required him to evict Williams and his 25-year-old daughter, Demai Williams, in April because they owed $8,348 in unpaid rent and fees on their $940 a month apartment. Now, how did you get? Let's do some math on that. All right. If you are paying, let's do 8, 3. I got to have my calculator for this one. Divided by 940. You are eight times. You are 8 times behind on your rent. 8 payments, rather. That's what I meant to say. 8 payments. 8 payments. So that landlord had to pay. That landlord had to pay 8 months worth of mortgage because you didn't have it. And I understand that Mr. Williams is sick. But what happened to his daughter? Is she sick as well? She's 25 years old. And this is what happens. Some people just don't have 100% no survival skills. And that's no bragging because that can happen to any one of us. That can happen to any one of us, what I'm talking about. They've been living in a limbo for ever since. They moved into the dilapidated Atlanta hotel room with water dripping through the bedroom ceiling, broken furniture, and no refrigerator or microwave. But a 275 a week, it was all they could afford on Williams' $900 a month Social Security check and his daughter $800 his daughter was getting bi-weekly from a state agency as her father's caretaker. So they're making $1,700 a month together because he's so sickly. She's the only one that could take care of him. I really don't know what. I really don't know what to be here by the time his birthday. I really don't want to be here. I really don't want to be here by the time his birthday comes in August. Demai Williams said, for his health, it's just not right. The Williams family is among millions of tenants from New York State or Las Vegas who have been evicted or face imminent eviction, right? After a lull during the pandemic, eviction filings by landlords have come roaring back driven by rising rents and a long running shortage on affordable housing. So, my question is this: why is it like this? Why is it like this? That we live in a country where people, and I'm gonna do another video, because you got 4,000 people at the border of Texas from Venezuela. How in the world and how many days did it take them to walk from Venezuela to the border of Texas? The country can't let everybody in because we are in a crisis, people, ourselves. We are in a crisis, right? After a lull during the pandemic, eviction filings by landlords have come roaring back, driven by rising rents and a long running shortage of affordable housing. There is no affordable housing. There's no affordable nothing. Most low income tenants can no longer count on pandemic resources that kept them housed. And many are finding it hard to recover because they haven't found steady work or their wages haven't kept pace with the rising cost of rent, food, and other necessities. Homelessness as a result is rising. Protections have ended. The federal moratorium is obviously over, and emergency rental assistance money have dried up in most places, said Daniel Grubbs Donovan, a research specialist at Princeton University's Eviction Lab. Well, I could tell you, Mr. Donovan, Grubbs Donovan, your research is adequate, but I could tell you this: it's visual. Because in larger cities, you can see that people is just not doing well. And the Biden administration needs to think about how he can help the people. Across the country, low-income renters are in a worse situation than before the pandemic due to things like massive increases in rent during the pandemic, inflations, and other pandemic era related financial difficulties. Eviction filings are more than 50% higher than the pre pandemic average in some cities, according to the Eviction Lab, which tracks filings in nearly 3 dozen cities and states. Landlords file around 3.6 million eviction cases each year. Now, this is the Eviction Lab. In 10 states, 34 cities we track, landlords have filed so far 1,090,410 evictions, and 86,450 were filed last month. That does not include Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, California. So it don't include a lot of states. They're only talking about 10 states and 34 cities. So let's scroll here. This is what they're filing. We're not going to read all of this because it's going to make this video just long, long, long. Connecticut, Delaware, Indiana, Minnesota, Missouri, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island. You see the filings. Indiana got 74,000. Pennsylvania, 114,000. Virginia, 136,000. Rhode Island, 8,000. Wisconsin, 27,000. Charleston, South Carolina, 10. Cincinnati, 12. Columbus, Ohio, 23. Greenville, 14. And what city is leading the way? Las Vegas have seen a significant increases in evictions since the pandemic. In 2023, eviction rates in Las Vegas were 62% higher than the pre-pandemic levels. Last year, more than 57,000 eviction cases were filed in Las Vegas, compared to the area's historic annual average of 36,000. So 21,000 more evictions were filed already. You see it, people. You see it. In the past year, eviction filings in Southern Nevada have increased by 160%. In North Las Vegas, eviction filings increased by 35% from fiscal year 2019 to fiscal year 2022. This year alone, North Las Vegas Justice Court have seen 7,428 eviction filings as of June. This is from 2023, people, right? So the question is, what's the average rents in Las Vegas? Let's see. Average rents in Las Vegas. Average rents. Rents in Las Vegas. Let's see this. All right. Both home and rent prices are more expensive in Las Vegas, across Nevada, and in the nation. But you see right here, the average rent for apartments in Las Vegas, Nevada, is between $874 and $1,462 in 2023. The average rent for a studio apartment is $874. A one-bedroom apartment is $1,340, and a two-bedroom apartment is $1,462. The median rent for all bedroom sizes is $1,460. The average rent in Las Vegas has decreased by 28% in the last year. In the first quarter of 2023, rents across the Las Vegas Valley decreased by 2.2 compared to the same period last year. The average rent now is $1,430 a month, which is below the average national average of $1,660. So the question is, why do you believe? And I know we had 30 minutes, and I didn't realize we was gonna get that far. Why do you think? And I'm gonna get back on this because we got to cook some more on this. Why do you think the rents are so high and evictions are so increased? People that's crossing the border are getting more help than you and you and you. And that's no knock. There's nobody crossing the border. But the people that's crossing the border are getting help. And people got the nerve to say, America's here. My family pulled ourselves about the bootstraps. No, you had help in initial help. A lot of people have never received help in this country. And that's where we at. So we're going to end this here because we're going to get on this and we're going to cook some more. This is Antonio with Team Tiggio. Please like, comment, subscribe, as we'll be coming back at you with another video in the future. And once again, we will see you next time.